Hello, YouTube. Welcome. And hello, Twitch as well. I surprisingly got it cool. I'm pronouncing people's... Wow, and immediately I hit a follower go. Who did that? That was Shiguyi. Thank you very much. Fondue is such a British thing, man. Is it? I feel maybe it's a thing that British people have when they are overseas in Europe, because in my mind it feels continental to me. But this was a present from my best friend's mum, who is Scottish, to say thank you for me lending my car to my best friend's sister for a month after her car broke down. And I live in London, so I didn't even notice the fact it was gone. But now I just have the world's richest food, and that feels appropriate because today we released Gleam 1.2, which is huge. So good. Gosh, it's so rich. Fantastic. And it's quite late here. It's coming up to 10 o'clock at night. Where are the release notes? Let me post the release notes. But I do. The reason we're so late is that there's so much stuff in this particular. Oh, hold on. Let me show you the release notes as well. Go over to Safari. Oh. That's not meant to look like that. 1 second. Window capture. Safari. Hey, much better. If you go to this lovely website, Gleam.run, and go to news, the latest one, Fault-tolerant Gleam 1.2 released, you can find this lovely blog post. And there's so much stuff in this release that it took me all day to write this, which is a lovely problem to have, but boy, I was hoping to start this much earlier. Gleam port to Gleam when? What, self-hosting? I'm not sure that's ever going to happen, because what's the point? We do all this work and we get to back where we started. Let's do something else. Let's do something cool instead. Like eat fondue. Oh my gosh. I don't know what fondue is. It's like cheese and other things. I don't know. Is it just cheese? I'm not sure. You put it in a little ceramic pot, and you put it in the oven until it gets intimidatingly hot, like a cauldron, a bubbling cauldron of nonsense. And then you take it out the oven, you mix it, it explodes because you put a cold thing in it, and then you give yourself third-degree burns, and then your family eat the cheese while you're struggling with that. It's that moment of taking it out of the oven is quite scary. It's very good though. I'm not sure how much of this I can do. It is super indulgent. So how else we go? Oh, we've got Popplestones. Hey. Good to see you again. And Bad Cop, are you the same Bad Cop that that Leandro is trying to get hired somewhere? I remember there's just every day Leandro would post, "Hey, hire Bad Cop." Who else we got? We got Fui. Nice to see you again. And Avi Doodle. We are doing more Gleam today. And Goofball Guinness. Do love a bit of Guinness. Being an Irishman. Yeah, I'm good. That did not work out, but yes, that's me. Oh, sorry to hear that, but your reputation precedes you. You're a person of high esteem. And Andrew Top over in YouTube, hey. And Gava says, also, Gleam and Gleam will be slower. Rust is much faster than the Beam in a compiler environment. Yes, that's true. Oh, and I got a follow from Ipsav, or Ipipsav. Thank you very much. So, I think a good thing to do would be just look at what's new. You know, look at all these things, and maybe try and demonstrate them a little bit. So the big thing, the really big thing, the thing that I think is gonna, make everyone very happy, is the whole fault-tolerant compilation thing. Oh, DW Craig, thank you. Oh, Ipsav says, I like your content, even though I've never used Gleam. You've got an opportunity. Now it's the time to use Gleam. Hey, this is your lucky day. It seems a very interesting language, since I like Rust. Yeah, there's a lot of similar sensibilities. The tooling is a huge rip-off. I mean, is inspired by Cargo. Oh, very good. But yeah, what a wonderful day. So if my browser didn't work, my editor doesn't work either. No, okay. We're gonna go over to window capture. We're gonna pick whichever one of these is my editor. This one. And then I gotta try and resize it to make sense. Okay, that'll do. And there. Yes, that looks about right. How is Elixir interop? Can you use Elixir libraries like Phoenix? Yeah, you can. You can. Let's take a very, very, very quick tangent. Let's make a new project just to show how this works. New project. I'll just call it app. Oh, there's already an app. Let's get rid of that. Okay, let's try that again. Gleam new app. Oh, let's go inside app. And then let's add a JSON. Let's add an Elixir library. Which one should I add? I don't know. Is there like an Elixir library where you can just call a function and it prints something? Is there? Maybe like CI search or something? Should we try that? CI search. Is that what it's called? No. Search. No. Mom. Certify. That sounds good. Ah, that's rebar. Come on. Isn't there a good, like, single CI store? That's got to be it, right? Yes. Okay. So this is an Elixir one. The documentation, it says that there is a module called CI store. It has a function called file path. Awesome, that sounds good. And it returns a path, and a path is a string, I'm guessing. Let's try that. So let's add CA store, was it? Oh, look, it's been added. And then if we go into our program, we can just import that function. What was it called? It was called file path, so I'm going to call it CA store file path. And it's going to return a string. And we're going to say this is externally implemented. It's not implemented in Gleam. It's an Erlang library because Elixir's really Erlang. You know, it runs in the Erlang virtual machine. And the module is called elixir.ca store. Is that what it's called? No, they've put two capital letters. And the function is called file path. Boom. So let's just print that. Fantastic. And now if I run it, I hope it works. Yay, there you go. So that's how easy it is to like add Elixir packages to your Gleam program and just use them. And I've done like a low level binding there, but you could, bonjour, says I'm Redder. Hello, hello, hello. But you could if you wanted to, or rather, what's probably better is that you should like use a package that wraps up the Elixir one. So they've got nice type definitions for it already. Because you need to put those type annotations. So like, oh, this returns a string. This returns that. This returns the other. What is the Gleam programming language? It's the best one. It's the best programming language that's ever been made. And we can tell because the website's really cute. This is the logo, mascot. It's called Lucy. She's really cute. Look at her. Oh, look at her. She's so good. And it's like friendly and functional and fast and sponsored by Fly. You should sponsor me as well. You should sponsor me. You should like sub and membership and all the other words. It's really good. It's really friendly. It's really simple. It's really concise. It's really easy to learn. Go to Gleam.run. Try it out. Click this try button here. I'm going to get that right one day. And you can try it online in your browser without even having to run everything. Hello. Peeps in the chat. Hey, look. Oh, it evaluates it. And it's statically typed, so like if you make mistakes, it tells you about it. There you go. So Gleam's really good. And today is Gleam 1.2, which is awesome. And the really big thing is fault-tolerant compilation. And the idea here is that let's demonstrate it. So, oh look, I've got an app. What's going on here? Come on, NeoVim, let me do stuff. There we go. So, how do we explain this? Okay, so what if I made a mistake in this binding? What if I said instead of a string, this returns a path? But there's no such thing as a path, right? Not in Gleam. Traditionally, well, not traditionally, like currently, the way Gleam compiles your program is it like looks at all the declarations and then it turns them into a big dependency graph. And then it sorts those into a linear order of either individual definitions, like individual functions. Let me move this light a bit. I feel like I'm putting shadow on my face a lot. Okay. So individual definitions, like individual functions, or if you've got recursive functions, it puts them in a group. So like if A equals B and B equals A, when you're compiling them, it compiles A and B together as one group. So it goes down these steps, and then it compiles them, and then it learns what this one is, and then it puts the information about that function into the scope, and then that can be used by the ones further down the tree. And that's great, except that when it was compiling, if it reaches an error, it would stop, and you wouldn't know anything more about the program. Which means when you encounter an error in an earlier one, so for example, this CO store one's going to be analyzed before this main function, because the main function depends upon the CO store function. So that would mean that the compiler would never get to the point where the main function was here. And as such, you wouldn't be able to do things like ask, hey, look, what's the type of X here? Oh, it's not telling, why is it, what's going on? Oh, did I break it? Did I anger the demo gods? Okay, it's working now. I'm not sure what's changed. I've done something here. Okay. I'm not sure. That wasn't a very good demo. Look, everyone, I've made this thing work. Oh, no, it's not working. Okay. But, like, you wouldn't normally be able to have this information here. But now you can with Gleam 1.2, because rather than exiting when we get errors, it goes, oh, there's an error. I'll keep track of that, and then I'll continue with compilation. And it can even happen if there's, you know, it also means you can have, like, multiple errors as well. So let's say we've got a, you know, is that not working? Oh, it's because this is an external function, right? Is that what's happening here? Let's get rid of that. Let's just make some simple invalid things. I'm not sure why that last one didn't show errors. I guess there might be some problems. It's pretty fresh. But this is the first time we've had fault-tolerant analysis. That's pretty exciting. How long have I been using Gleam? Okay, so I've slightly misled you. I have a somewhat vested interest in Gleam because I'm the person who made it. If you go to the Gleam GitHub and click, well, actually, you should click this one. You should click the sponsor button. That's the most important button. But if you decide not to click that for some reason, you could click contributors, and it will think about it for a whole time. Come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. And this person here, this extremely dashing person, it's yours truly. GitHub baking that potato, hell yeah. The GitHub hamsters are working extremely hard to fetch this graph as we speak. Yeah, so I'm the Gleam person. So now, Popplestone says, so now the language server doesn't break when you have errors in your code. Yeah, that's basically it. So the idea is that no matter what state your code is in, we should be able to still infer things about your code. And the result is that, so I've been using this for a few weeks because I run the nightly branch, and it just feels so much better. It's super lovely. Top 10 hardest GitHub profile pics. Oh, thank you so much. You can tell how this was at my sister's wedding, and you can tell how long ago it was because my hair looks like that. Now my hair looks like that. Been a long time. Maybe I should get a new photo. Nah, I'm not going to do that. But thank you very much. Much appreciated. Can you please make the font bigger? Not easily. To be fair, that one can't be topped. Thank you very much. I think so. And you know, how often is my sister gonna get? How often is my sister gonna get married? Not very often. So what are the other things that we've got inside this release? Don't need the Elixir thing anymore. Don't need the language tool anymore. Regrettably, don't actually need a picture of my face anymore. So that's been really great. It's really lovely. Oh yeah, we've got improvements to how we handle import statements inside the language server. Luscious locks. If I can attempt to grow my hair past a couple of centimeters, you'll see I'm balding. I just embrace it, shave my head. But I think the shaved head look is really good. Every time I'm like, oh, I can shave my head, and my friend's like, no, don't do that. But I kind of want it. It's a good look. I can make the browser font bigger. The editor, not so much. Maybe can I? Maybe I can. It's not very easy though. Let's try it. Let's go slightly larger. So if I put that like here, and then put that like there. Is that better? No, I'll put that. Oh, it doesn't line up. Does it line up? I think that works. There we go. I got a big screen, and my terminal was getting like progressively tinier and tinier. I think you could do Command Plus. Does it? Oh, Ghost TTY is got the. Oh, amazing. There we go. That's too big. Oh dear. I've just switched to Ghost. How do you pronounce it? Ghost TY? Ghost TY, which is fantastic. If you can get into the beta for it, I really recommend it. It's a really lovely bit of software. Fondue. So good. Okay, so. What are some things that are nullable? I don't know. Wibble. Good. Oh, so I haven't imported IO. There we go. Okay, so if you decide you want to import some things, look, it autocompletes. It autocompletes unqualified imports now. So I know there's a none, and there's some is functions. I can import one of those and see the documentation. But I actually want to have option and some. There we go. And I can hover to see the documentation for type. So this one's a type. You can tell because it says the word type. Oh, hello. Thank you so much, Trulagome and Numero Mojo. That's a cool name. So it works for types and works for constructors. Oh, I haven't written any documentation for this constructor. Or this one. How rubbish. So you just get the type annotation. And you can't look up docs for individual modules. Maybe we'll add that. That could be cool. But you can do go to definition on the module and it will just take you straight there. You can also do it on types. Go to definition or go to definition on a value. So this will go to the same place because it's a constructor of that type. Let's put in a function just so you can see it working there as well. Is some, there you go. There's some documentation. Can I open this link as well? GX. Oh, yes, there you go. That, and this is a link which in NeoVim you can click if you're NeoVim 0.10 by pressing GX. And that opened in a browser I can't show you anyway because it's off screen. And you can also do go to definition with functions. Boom. So there you go. That's super nice. Can you showcase the second feature? As in the one I've just shown you? I don't know when you said that. So, what's the next feature? Where's my other window? Oh yeah, this is it. This is it doesn't enable anything new, but it feels nice. So let's import list. Why not? So let's explain pipes just in general. So like if you have, and traditionally in a language with no pipes, you could say let items equals 1, 2, 3. And then you can say let items, items equals list.reverse items. And then say let items equals list.map items, and let's double them. So function that takes a number and it adds it to itself. And at the end we can say print items. Oh, Brunsell, thank you very much for the follow. So that is a bit of you know, you can do it that way. It's a bit, yeah, it's a bit repetitive in compared to like object-oriented programming where you could just do like dot this, dot this, dot this. And Tyler Hillary, thank you very much for the follow. So, being functional weebs, we have the pipe operator, and that is you just put this little pipe greater than in front of each line, and then get rid of the first argument to each function, and that does the same thing. Let's run it. There you go, 642. So we always make it use. So Gleam has an auto formatter. So when I hit save, look, I'll just mess up the formatting. And when I hit save, it automatically fixes the formatting for you. And traditionally, it's always said that a to Vic0x00. Thank you so much for the sub. That means so much. Thank you very much. Super kind. So it would always format like this. But Jack, our formatter hero, has made it so you can now squish them onto one line. This line might be slightly too long, so is it going to work? It does. It fits. Fantastic. Does it really fit? Oh, it just fits if it's like with 0 characters to spare. So now you can fit it on one line if you want to. I personally think this is like a little bit too much information for one line, but if I was just doing something like 2 function calls like that, that seems quite reasonable to have in one line. And if you want to split it onto multiple lines again, you can just pop one of them off and then it will format all of them like that for you. I'm going to have more fun, do. So it's not going to enable you to do anything new, but it feels nice. You know, and we want pretty code, right? Does Gleam have that pipe debug nicety that came to Elixir somewhat recently? No, but we want to have something like that. We have a keyword reserved for it, but we just haven't implemented yet. So at the end of, when was it? At some point, I can't remember when it was now. At some point a number of months back, we did a survey to see what do you think is the most important thing for us to be working on in the community? And the thing that came out sort of overwhelmingly as most important is improving the language server and the tooling and the editor situation. So that's what we've been focused on. So we've not been adding new, the last few little language features we've been planned. We want to do things like adding this fault-tolerant compilation, adding auto-completion, adding go-to-definition, adding viewing documentation, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I agree. I think that is probably like the most important thing to focus on. And while I was rambling, Jack Thompson followed. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Gosh, I love fondue. So what's the next thing in the release? Let's have a look. We have, oh yes. So like, there's a lot of, we care a lot about developer experience. We care a lot about you being, Snippy Boone says, what is the special syntax external called in Gleam? Let's go to the tour. So the feature of using external code is called externals. So here's the documentation for externals. And this thing of having like an at before something, this is called an attribute. Is it? I think it's called an attribute. Have I written the word attribute here? Yes, it's an attribute. Oh, Sheba _, thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated. And is that, I can't tell in this font if your name starts with an L or an I, but I'm gonna guess I. Ebuy says congrats, very quickly updates. Thank you very much. Yeah, we've been working very hard, and the rest of the team are really smashing it. I'm super happy with them. Oh, Bubblestones gave out a gifted sub. Thank you very much, and started a hype train. I love the hype train thing. It's like everyone keep giving Twitch money, and me. More importantly, give me the money. So there's other attributes as well, like you can say deprecated it bad. And then when you, anyway, using the code, it prints this warning saying, hey, look, this has been deprecated. This formatting's a bit weird. I feel like this box makes sense like this, but if I scroll up, I feel like really the yellow line should be here. I don't know how to do CSS, so I can't fix it. Maybe someone else will. Maybe it shouldn't. I mean, it shouldn't have a scroll bar now is what I'm thinking. That doesn't look right to me. Thank you very much, Purplestone. It's really cool. What other attributes we've got? We've got one that we don't talk about called target, which I'm not going to tell you about. It's used for like conditional compilation stuff, but you almost never want it because external can handle the two different targets for you, and if you use target, it basically makes the other half of the code invisible to the compiler, so you get much worse information out of it, which is not great. And Johnnyman9 followed. Thank you very much. Oh. Whoa! I sense. Thank you so much. I think that might be my like third ever bit or something like that. I sense says, hey, congratulations on the release. Read the changelog. There are really useful updates. Yeah, the updates are cool. Yeah, thank you so much. It means the world. So yeah, these are attributes. Let's look at this particular one. Oh no, let's look at this one. So we really care about developer experience. We care about your productivity. We care about code being really clear. We care about it being easy to learn, right? And a huge part of all this is error messages. So like a thing you're going to have in all of Gleam releases is not that, oh, we've added this fancy new feature, we've added this new API, we've added these things. The language is not going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger generally. It's going to be much more concise, and it's much more about making the things that we do have easier to use. And a big part of that is like, what happens when you misuse it, right? And this use feature is a really good example. So use expressions are the most, probably the most powerful feature we've got. They're very clever. They can do lots of things. They're the most cryptic thing we've got. And it's really easy with something that's quite alien and isn't in languages that you've used before to get confused by it. And when that happens, the error messages really matter. And because it's implemented as a syntactic sugar in the compiler, which means that when we compile use, which really is a fancy way of calling a callback function, we compile it into some other code, and then we compile that code. Which means that when you get an error, it's nothing to do with use, really. It's like a more generic error. So Jack spent ages going through the compiler and like finding all the points where you can like interject good error messages and makes a few really nice ones. I don't know how to demo this. Shall I just like write the code that he says? So let's try it. I guess I should explain what use is. So let's write. How should we do this? Okay, so you could have. How am I going to do this? I'm going to do it with the results module. Yes, okay. So Gleam's error handling is done with a result type. A result type is defined as. Oh, I don't have any information of that. Can I do like? So a result is either okay, some value, or it's an error. It failed, but spelled correctly. It failed like that. So it's one of these two values. So say we got a function that can fail. I should give a concrete. I'm rabbit holing quite aggressively here. I want to explain use. I'm like, okay, so first I should explain use, but then I should explain to explain this error message. I should explain use. To explain use, I should give a demonstration. To do that, I'm going to use results. Okay, now I'm going to explain results. No, terrible. Okay, let's do a really, really simple one. So we've got some items. Make a new function. Make a function called do the thing. Oh, but spell thing right. And it's going to take some items. Items. It's going to be a list of ints. Do the thing. 1, 2, 2, 3. Next thing you know, explaining turtles exactly all the way down. Cool. So we've got a thing. We've got a function called do the thing. It takes the items, and then we're going to list.map over them with a function, and this function is going to. What should we do? We should just like multiply it by itself. But first we're also gonna function is first going to print the print the value. Okay. Oops, that's not how you do it. So do the thing, and then we'll print the final result. There we go. So if I run this, it prints 1, 2, 3, and then returns a list of 1, 4, and 9. Okay, that makes sense. Come on, Neovim, stop misbehaving. So the thing to bear in mind about this is that like it grows across the page. Like this is a higher order function, which is like a function that takes a function, and when you pass a function in as another argument, everything gets indented by 1, which is fine in this case. But like, what if you wanted to do, what if you wanted to do it twice? So let's say you want to call flat map on. No, which way around do we do it? This can be flat map, and then it returns list.map items, and then a function which what's it going to do? We just multiply it by itself again. So now if we run it, we get 1, 2, 3, 149, 149, 149. Cool. Let's get rid of this one. And let's do it another time. Oh, I don't like how it's all. Come on. Comment. One four nine. There we go. Let's multiply that by, there we go. So we're using all the variables now. How exciting. Cool. So we end up with this like thing where the code is like drifting across the page. And this is kind of contrived, but you could see this happening in real life in sort of like promise-based like in like callback-based situations, like old style JavaScript where like it's just callbacks that go across the page. If this was promises, in promises you can normally like chain them with then, but in this case you couldn't, because this inner one, not only does it depend upon the previous one, but also like the one up as well. So users gives you a way of writing this in a flat style. So let's do make the exactly the same function again, but instead of calling it do the thing, we'll call it use the thing. And to do this, you just transform it by saying use y, so that's this argument. We move that here, and we pop that there. So that's exactly the same code. That's just it desugaring the same thing. It's a way of taking all the following code and putting it into an anonymous function and passing it to the argument. So we can do the same thing to this flat map. There we go. And we can do it as well, we could do it to this map as well. What am I putting in here? I'm putting in items again. And that should print exactly the same thing, unless I've made a mistake, which is, you know, distinctly possible. We are on stream. Yeah, there we go. Prints the same thing. So basically, it's a way of just taking callback-based code and writing it in a way where it doesn't creep across the page. So what happens if we get it wrong? Isn't it the equivalent of Haskell's do notation? No, it's not. But you can use it to do everything that Haskell's do notation does, because Haskell's do notation is specifically bound to a monad, right? You can only do things with it that obey the monadic laws, or even if you break the laws, you can only do things within that interface. But this you can do anything, right? So this particular case I've given you here is monads and applicatives. But there's all sorts of things you can't do with it. I'll give you an example. Has anyone written Go? No? So Go's got this thing called defer. See if I can remember how Go works. Is main how does main? Main. I don't know how this thing works. It has this function called defer, and you can say, you know, file is equal to file.open whatever, and then you can say defer the closing of this file. So you say like, how does it work? File.close. Is that how you would do it? And then you can do the rest of your stuff in the code here. And when you get to the end of the block, this deferred thing can stop being deferred. It runs, and then when the scope closes, then it runs file.close for you. That's pretty cool. Do I want to save changes? No, I don't. So you can't implement that with Haskell's do notation, but you can with use. So let's make a function called defer, and it's going to take a function. No, let's go callback. Let's go to callback, which is a function which goes from nothing to whatever. No, let's call it deferred, and then it's going to have a body, and the body is a function which goes from nothing to something, and then we're going to return something at the end of it. And so how do we implement defer? Well, first off, you call the body, which should do something, and we'll save that to a variable, so we'll call that results. And then we're going to call deferred, that's the callback we got. Deferred, did I spell it wrong? Oh, there it is. And then we return the final results. There you go. preferred, but spell it correctly. There we go. And then our code, we can use it. I don't have any way to use it, so I'll just pretend I can open a file here. Because the file opening thing doesn't map onto Go, because we don't manually open and close files because we're not C. But let's just say, let's just use printing. At the start, and then we want to say use defer and some function, and this function is going to say print line in the defer, and then afterwards we say oops. Afterwards we can print in the body, in the body, in the body. There we go. So that looks the same. That looks the same as the. Oh look, I can show you a code action. Remove unused imports. How exciting. There we go. So that looks the same as the Go one, right? You can't implement this Haskell, and if we run it, you get what you expect. You're at the start, then you're in the body, in the body, in the body, and then you're in the defer. Ooh, Isaac Harris Holtz cheered with 98 bits, a very specific number. Thank you very much. And there's all sorts of other things you could use it for. Like you could use it for, what things we use it for? You can use it for tracing in a login framework. You could use it for early returns. You could use it for try catch. You could use it for repeating something that fails. You could do all the monad stuff with it. You can't do applicative stuff with it. That's one thing we want to do. We don't know how to do applicatives yet. So if you have a good idea for applicatives, let us know. Any other cool things you do? Checking out database connections. Yeah, all sorts of cool stuff. Anyway, I've got off track, so let's deliberately break this. So what if I said that my defer function takes an argument? What's going on here? That's because I didn't save the file. There we go. I now get a specific error message that says this function takes a callback. So like, this function takes a callback that expects no arguments, but one was provided on the left-hand side of X. Well, previously this would just say a function expected no arguments, got 1, and that's like super unclear. Whatever cool things we do, we could say like, what if we gave defer too many arguments? That's another one. The function on the right-hand side takes 2 arguments. All the arguments have already been supplied, so it cannot take the use callback function as the final argument. Hey, what else can we do? What if we try and use something that you can't use? Excuse me. In a use expression, there should be a function on the right-hand side of the arrow, but this has the value int. Oh, it's so much easier to use now. Whoops. Thank you, Jack. Jack's the best. Oops. I keep pressing something in my editor and I don't know what it does. There you go. So everything after the use is passed in as the first arg. Everything after the use is passed in as the last arg. But yes, you've got the general idea there. So like, let's go back to where it was. So when use happens, all this goes here. So let's just oh bollocks, sorry, I'm on the wrong screen. In use, everything after the use gets put into an honest function and added as the last argument. So let's just rewrite that. So here we've got no variables being defined, which means no arguments. So let's define a function with no arguments. And everything underneath goes in the function. So let's put it inside the function. And it goes as the final argument in whatever the function was. So there you go. So that's what use desugars to, which is such a simple idea. It's just a straightforward syntax transformation. You can't even like give it a type. It doesn't even like adhere to a specific type like Haskell's do notation is. Which is cool actually, because it means you can be generic over different numbers of arguments. You know, you could have a use that takes no arguments like this one does, or you could have one that takes 1 argument or 2 arguments or 3 arguments or as many as you want, and that all works. It's nowhere near as, has way more expressive power, to use a Chomsky term, than Haskell's do notation is. I think it's fantastic. It's like the best like bang for buck of any feature I've come across in language for a long time. X message. Oh, message. Thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated. This is how using use with bool.guard allows to return early. It's just using the rest of the code as the full sum. You've got it. Exactly. So higher order functions are super powerful. You can do almost anything with a higher order function. That's kind of what the whole idea of functional programming is about. But the only problem is that they just tend to crawl across the page. So we found a way to solve that. It's great. Hello, Joe. What is that? Green, yellow, red meter on your inline errors? I guess so. I don't know. Let's, as in, these? I don't know. That's good question. Oh, look, hold on. Here we go. Oh, I know what it is. It's to do with how diagnostics are formatted, right? I think. So it's because there's multiple errors here. So there is like, this is an error, which is taking the highest precedence. But if we check it, if we save it and then check it, you'll see there was a warning for this variable not being used, a warning for this variable not used, a warning for this variable not being used. Why is it in that order? I think they get sorted by line number, and then inside that it's non-deterministic, which like things in the same line are going to be. That's quite funny. But then there's an error. So that'd be the two yellows and the red one. I'm not sure what the green is, because there's a green thing here. Whoa! Okay, so first off, Dahani Silva followed. Good to have you. But also, someone called Juan Louis, or Juan Louis. I'm going to say Juan Louis. Hey, cool name. Like your name. That's for such helpful, readable error messages. I don't understand why programming languages make error messages cryptic. It is one of the most important and overlooked features. I really agree. I think it's not that they make them cryptic deliberately. It's that they traditionally programming languages haven't cared about errors. Jetty followed me. Hey, thank you. Hey, folks. Can anyone familiar with Rust indicate a good first project for beginners to make? I hope your project is going to be in Gleam, not Rust. You're in the wrong stream otherwise. But whatever, like the best thing to make is anything that you're interested in. Like that's the most important thing to be doing. Green could be fixes if your config is anything like mine. So I'm just using LazyVim. Oh really? So can I? Do you think I can like? No, there's no code actions. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's code actions. Okay, so how do I... But there isn't a code action here that I'm aware of. Where would it need to be? I can't think of what code action that could be. Leader E. What does that... No, that just opens my file manager. What does Leader E do for you? Does it show all of... No, because code action... So the way code actions work in language server is that you've got to tell it... you've got to tell it a location, and the code actions are based upon this current state and the location. And I don't think we have any code actions that would trigger at this point in time. Is Gleam the cute pink star line? Yeah, it is. Oh, it's all about Lucy. Let me make this logo. If anyone wants stickers, by the way, come to the Gleam meetups and I'll give you a sticker. Have you looked at the Helix editor? Yeah, we've got some Helix users in the Discord. Clay, who I haven't seen Clay in a while actually. Clay, I think Clay is like a Helix contributor as well. Stickers, exactly, yeah. Paul. Stickers. Lucy, my beloved, right? So come to Gleam for Lucy and then stay for the amazing community and I guess the code, I suppose. So yeah, loads of error messages. That's a nice. Let's demonstrate that nice error message as well. Let's get rid of all this code. No one wants code. Hello, Joe. That's just tradition. So let's import option, and I want to import option. And if I run, let's clear this. Oh, I didn't save it again. I've got to remember to save. If I run Gleam check, it says option is only a type. It cannot be imported as a value. Oh, that's so nice. Because before it was just like, there's no option. You're like, there is option. I can see in the docs. So you got to fix it like that. What if I want to import the type? Sum. It's going to say, sum is only a value. It cannot be imported as a type. Ah, okay, it's a value. There we go. How exciting. And then it just says they're unused. Oh, and then I can probably do this. No, okay. I thought we had one for like removing unused qualified imports, but no, we don't. So there you go. More error messages. Reasons to use Lucy according to Okina. Number 1, Lucy. I mean, yes, that is like 100% true. Number 2, Beam VM. Yep, 100%. Number 3, cool name. Yeah, I'm glad you think so. Number 4, cool community. Yeah, those are all extremely true. I'm not sure I agree with the ordering. I think the community goes higher. Jose, or Jose, I'm not sure. One of the two, I hope, says, "Hi, Louis. Hey! Do you think it's necessary to learn about Erlang before learning Gleam?" No, totally not. We've got people in our community who have come from other places, not Erlang places, and they've not learnt it. They've just gone straight to, mucking about with Gleam. That's great. I would say back in the past, you would need to know because there weren't many libraries. The tooling was a bit rough. You'd have to lean on Erlang a lot. But now that we're, for quite a long time now, actually, that hasn't been the case. Oh, the cheese has got a bit hard. I love cheese. So good. So yeah, that's my opinion. And over in Twitch, people are going. PZ00 says, I would skip Erlang and go straight to Gleam. Yeah, totally agree. And Popplestone says, I know zero Erlang. Gleam is great as a first functional language. I'm really glad you think so. Like, that was explicitly one of my goals. I just had like a little boot-up sound and I've no idea what it was. Let me check some windows and see if I can work out where the notification came from. Ah, I've got Mastodon open in a window. Let's close that. Other community meetups, etc. in the Discord or the Gleam meetup says holla holla we dem boys. So today, literally today, there were some people meeting up at Lambda Days, which is an amazing conference. Where is Lambda Days? It's always in the same place, but I can't remember where it is. I've been there, so I should know. Ah, Poland, of course. Really good conference. One of the talks today was where is it? Oh, SPG's speaking. Gosh, there's a lot of people talking to this. Really? Where's Haley? Ah. Can I see it? Luster. Gleam? What is this? Is this an old year or something? Oh, this is last year. No wonder I can't find anything. Okay, here we go. Let's try again. Oh, excuse me. Oh dear. Gleam. There we go. Look, here's a Gleam talk. Ooh, from Haley. And I don't know if the other one is shown here. No, okay. Jack is also doing, or has done, maybe, a lightning talk on Gleam. So very exciting. I wish I could be there. And we had just after version 1, we had a meetup here in London. That was really fun. It was just a social. We went to a sort of pizza bar place in Paddington and just hung out. A guy came from the Netherlands, which I found wild. Just come to hang out with us. And we all met up at FOSDEM. That was great. FOSDEM being the big open source conference in Brussels. That was wonderful. So I'm really hoping we get more and more of these meetups. Like, we've not had one in the Americas yet. It'd be really cool if there was a North America. I guess that's a huge place. It'd be nice if there was, like, I don't know, an East Coast meetup and a West Coast meetup and a Canada meetup and a Mexico meetup, that kind of thing. Gleam is my first functional language, by the way, and I'm in love with Gleam. Oh, I'm really glad. That's awesome. Hey, Louis, love the streams. Did your mini NVim plugin previously used to have straight line between indents? I can't seem to get mine to stop using these weird mini line breaks. Yeah, it's all gone a bit funny. I'm not sure what is going on there. Do you mean that? You mean the indent guidelines? Dev Martins _ Hey, oh, and the crash X. Did I miss you? I think I did. I apologise for missing your follow, but thank you very much, both of you. We have to hijack one of the Elixir meetup to have more than 2 people. Why not? Hijack a meetup. I think we're going to try and hijack the Elm conference. This is a Gleam conference now. In fact, we did do that at the previous London Elm meetup. We had a Gleam talk. And just somewhat derailed it. It was really good. It's not a hostile takeover, but like, you know, here's a bunch of stuff. East Coast versus West Coast functional beef. I think we should get like cool hats and stuff. I've yet to try Gleam. Now's the chance. Now's the time. What are you waiting for? Syntactically, it seems very similar to Rescript. Do you know how they compare? So Rescript is a fork of a camel, I believe. Is that true? So it's a bit different. It's much more complicated. There's a few things that I would consider to be sharp edges in OCaml, and thus I'm assuming Rescript, maybe they've fixed it. And a few things that just feel a bit off by modern sensibilities, in my opinion, like the fact the ordering of function definitions matters, the fact that the way that type variables in function signatures and type signatures work, the whole GADT thing is really complicated. Like I think Gleam is a more approachable and easy to read language, and I think the tooling is a lot better as well. But I've not used Rescript in a long time, so I could be completely wrong about those things. Oh, thank you so much. RMDM_dev has subscribed with Prime. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What is arity? Oh, I should have said that, shouldn't I? It means the number of arguments a function takes. I wonder if that means we should remove the word arity from errors and try and describe that more. That's good. It's good to know what people trip up on. Yeah, that plugin just broke for me when in the latest Lazy Vim update, which I don't like at all. It looks rubbish now. So yeah, if you work it out, Ryan, let me know, and then fix my config as well. So what's the other? Let's look at some more of this stuff. Assertion, exhaustiveness, checking. Blimey, try and say that a few times fast. Ooh. How does that work? Right. So let results equals. There we go. So here is some results. OK means successful, error means it fails, right? So you can say I want to get this inner value out, this 1, 2, 3, and assign it to a variable. You could do this. You could say let x equals case. It's pattern match on results. Say if it's OK, let's just return the inner one. But if it's an error, what should we do? Oh, I don't know. What should we do? What do we do here? Well, let's just crash. As we expect this to be OK. And then we can print, let's make this a string. Joe. And then we just print that value. So if we run this, oh look, it's got the value out of it. What happens if it's an error? So if we run that again, oh, it crashes. Oh, horrible. Oh, what are we going to do? So It's not great writing a program to crash, but there are lots of occasions in which it does make sense. So for example, if you're prototyping something, if you are writing stuff where the happy path should always be the right path, and there's nothing reasonable you could do if you ever hit the sad path. So for example, a background job, a script, that kind of thing. Mohide Arashirif. Oh my gosh, I think that's the worst I've done of a name so far. So thank you so much for the follow. Thank you so much. So yeah. So there are lots of times when there is actually, there are valid reasons to do this. And so as such, we've got a shorthand for it, a way of saying, apply just this one pattern, and if it's anything else, then I want you to crash. And we do that by moving the pattern here and removing the case and everything else. And at the moment, it will say, if you try and compile that, it will say, oops, I keep forgetting to save the file. It's very annoying. It will say, you can't use this assignment because it doesn't match your values. The value you're missing is the error case here. Okay. But it says use a more general pattern or use let assert instead. Okay, so let's do that. So there you go. Now it doesn't complain anymore. Boom. Oh yeah, because it's an error. Let's be nice. Let's make it okay. Oh look, it works. How exciting. And as you saw a second ago, like it still crashes if you've set it to an error. But what if I had a pattern that matched everything? So what if I did this? There you go. So like I'm asserting that nothing really. This is quite contrived, but it could be that you remove a variant from a data structure, or you make the pattern more relaxed and don't realize you've made it super relaxed. And so now it lets you know that, hey, oh yes, because it's now a whole thing. So let's just do debug. There we go. So now we say like, hey, you're saying you're asserting something, but you're not asserting anything. This is redundant. You can just remove this. So there you go. Just help you catch some like little silly mistakes that you might have made. What's the font you're using? I'm using Fire Code Nerd Fonts Mono. I think the community should work on a tutorial material to introduce learning to program in functional languages like Gleam and Elixir. Something similar to Python for everybody. What a lovely idea. If you go to my Twitter or the Gleamlang Twitter, you will find a tweet that says, hey, if there was some Gleam books, what would you like them to be about? Maybe you should reply with that. Maybe we could make some books happen in the near future. That could be exciting. Lamsak. Oh gosh, I'm really butchering names today. Lampasak or Vask. Sorry, I'm doing so badly. As soon as a name's like slightly long, I panic. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the follow. Great to have you. GitHub. Oh, I haven't. Oh, let me add that as an action you can do. Where is that? That's in Nightbot. Nightbot. Commands. Custom. Add command. GitHub. Sorry, folks, you can't see it. I'm typing in a other window, so you can't see it. The message is going to be https://github.com/gleamlang/gleam. There we go. Try it again. Hey Mo, try saying GitHub. Cleaned a bunch of those in Gleam/Erlang today. Hey, awesome. Hey, Louis, what's the main goal of Gleam development? Says Jose. It's to improve the language server. So you'll notice that the big change for this release was the language server stuff, and then we've got a bunch more language server things here, and then more tooling stuff. So tooling overall, but mostly language server stuff. That's the focus. What else have we got? So redundant exhaustionist checking. Gosh, I really struggle with that word today. Oh yes, catching common crash mistakes. So there's a common mix-up. Let's go back to where we were. do. Here we go. So we've got this code here, and we've got this panic as thing. So this is saying crash the program, panic. Oh, but give it this message. So if we run this, did I save it? If we run this, oh, let's make it actually crash there. If we run this, you'll see that message is here. Message, we expect this to be okay. The way it prints the error message isn't very nice. We'll improve that in future. But for some reason, I think part because it seems obvious that it would be like this, but also because this used to be the syntax. You would do it like this. You'd pretend that panic is a function, and you'd give it an argument, and the argument is going to be the message. But if we run this, it just says panic expression evaluated. It doesn't use our message here. And now we've got, let's clear this so we can see it a bit easier. Oh, stop that. Right, that's because warnings aren't cached. There we go. There we go. So now, I would like a space here. I should add an extra new line here. Now it says, hey, look, you look like you're trying to add a message to a panic, but that's not actually what you're doing. You should really write panic as your error message here. So again, a lot of this is informed by, we've got more and more people using Gleam, more and more than ever, and we're just seeing like some common mistakes crop up. So we want to identify those, and we want to like tweak the whole experience a little bit to guide you away from those mistakes, because we care about learning. Tijobi S good, welcome. Thank you very much for the follow. I really like the Learning Go 2 ebook by John Bodner. I don't know that one. Something like that for Gleam would be amazing. Ambitious, you say? What's it called? Learning Go 2E? Oh, second edition. Of course. John Bodner. I like the little gopher. I'm assuming it's a gopher. Does it say how big it is? What's in it? Making a program, using the tools, class types, variables, composite types. Oh, right, it just goes for the whole language, eh? Does it go past? Oh, it's got generics in here as well. Don't need, go away, cookie banner. Oh, there's quite a lot of stuff in here, eh? Interesting. This seems like a long book, eh? How many pages is it? Does it tell you anywhere? Product info. Doesn't tell me anything. What if I go to Amazon? Pages. 500 pages? That's quite a lot of words, man. That's quite a lot. Maybe one day. Where does the as syntax come from? Nowhere in particular. Why is panic not a regular function? The reason for it not being a function is that it has information that you can't get as a function. So if you look at, let's actually crash it. Yes, that's going to crash if we run it. So let's look at this. It has things like the module that it's being called from, the line it's being called, the module it's being called from, the function it's being called in, and the line it's being called in. You can't do those with a function. You can't know, a function can't tell where it's being called from, right? So it's got to be something special. And the other things it can do is that we can then, because it's a part of a language, it's not a library, we can then have error messages and warnings that are specialized to those syntactical forms. We can provide much more information if it's part of the language than if it was a function. It just makes it a lot stronger. Stronger, that's the wrong word. A lot more capable. My cheese has gone less nice. Mmm. Yeah, I might be cheesed out now. Anyway. What else do we do? More error messages. I wonder if there's anything more exciting to show you. Unreachable code. That's easy. Okay. Super easy to show these to you. So let's have a constant. And we just assign it to the value of main. Oh no, you can't do that. Oh, I keep forgetting to save. One day I'll remember to save. Oh look, you can't do that. Ooh, okay. The other one. We'll just panic here. Oops. And now it's going to say, hey look, this code's unreachable. Cool, goes after panic. Like super little basic things, but like, you know, just really handy. If you publish a package and you realize within 24 hours, oh dear, I've published the wrong package, or oh that was meant to be the private repo, I've published it the public one, or oh dear, there's a really bad bug in that. Well, within 24 hours you can undo publishing. After 24 hours, a release becomes permanent. If it was really bad, you might be able to talk to the Hex admins and they could possibly sort something out for you. But, you know, largely, overwhelmingly, Hex is an immutable package registry. It means you don't get the problem that you get in, like, NPM land. So, for example, oh, great release, Louis. Nice quality of life improvements. I put my API key in there as an example. Oh, that would be a time you really want to revoke it. No, the package and the API key, both of those things, you know, they're pretty stuffed. Yeah, there you go. Oh, did I just do a bunch of? No, I didn't. This manual save thing looks so possible. Is it possible to make save when changing focus, like idea? I thought I did, and I think I broke it. It's supposed to. I'm not sure why it doesn't. So, like, if I'll show you an example with. I'll show you an example with two different files. So open test file. If I do this. Oh no, I didn't. Oh look, it's just completely broken. Okay, so it used to. No, I've just broken my config. That'd be why I keep forgetting, because it used to. I don't know what I've done, but it definitely used to save when I switched to a different split. I don't understand how I've done that. I just don't really understand any of them, to be honest. I've only recently started using it again, and I haven't read the manual. It's 100% user error. So yeah, NeoVim is a good editor. I'm just a bad user. Oh, this is a really nice one. So if I make watch a 10-hour video of him of Tej watching the video. Watch a 10-hour video of Tej reading the manual. Wow, that's a long video. Oh, Hipstronaut. Thank you so much for the Prime subscription. I really appreciate it. Thank you much. LazyVim is too much magic for someone new to NeoVim, in my opinion. So my feelings on this are that it's nice because it gives you a feeling for what it could be like, you know, what you can have. But then I think maybe you want to just throw it all away and start again. But then maybe just something like Kickstart NeoVim will give you similar feelings, and you have to worry about the rest. Maybe I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. It was enough to convince me to come back to NeoVim though, which is cool after like many years being away from it. +1 for Kickstart. Yeah, I think I'm gonna NeoVim config stream me just slowly reading Kickstart and going and being confused, and then adding the Gleam language server and then never touching it again. Kickstart looks really nice. I did skim it. I dig it. What was the thing I wanted to show? Oh yeah, so like the Beam, the Erlang virtual machine is really cool for many reasons. One of the reasons it's really cool is that you can load new versions of code into it while it's still running. Whoa, that's wild, right? So that means you can upgrade your application while it's running. The downside of this is that there's a bunch of modules that are built into the Erlang, distribution that are needed to do things. For example, one of them is called code, and it's used for loading and running code, right? It's used a lot behind the scenes. So if you were to make a module in Gleam called code, which seems quite reasonable, and then compile it, you would successfully compile it, load it into the virtual machine, and it would eject the previous version of the code module out, thinking that you've got a new upgrade for it. But you've instead replaced a very important Erlang module with possibly a completely empty Gleam module. Things start to break in very strange and confusing ways. Ooh, that's not good. So we already had a system to stop you from overriding other Gleam modules with each other, but now we check to make sure that you're not overriding any one of the built-in Erlang modules that we know about. And let's see if we can trigger that, So let's touch source code.gleam. And let's try and build. What? It let me do it. What? Whoa, that's not meant to happen. It's meant to not let me do that. Anyway, so here we go. Here's an example of the horrible things that happen if you override code. How did that happen? Whoa, did we break something? Whoa, how did that happen? Oh, something's gone horribly wrong. Oh, wow, I'm really confused. Okay, well, we may have discovered a bug. I implemented it myself and I tested it and it did. I'm very confused. Let's try. Does that happen every time? Oh, we still got CA store. Gleam remove CA store from the beginning of the stream. This is typical. The demo gods oops, causing me problems. Wow, it takes a long time to compile things when you're. Whoa. Am I even using the right version? Yeah, because I had the other things. Huh. Okay. I wonder what it could be. That's spooky because we had it in the first. I think we had it just before the first release candidate. It's possible. I guess I guess that was broken by the fault-tolerant compilation. I don't see how it could be though. That's very spooky. I'm tempted to go dig into that and try and work out what the problem is. You mentioned that you changed the syntax to be more C style with curly braces, in which term brought more uses. What was the syntax style before? Was it like Ruby, Elixir, Lisp? It was like an ML language. So OCaml, Elm, Haskell, that kind of thing. I see that Gleam, LSP, and Mason is flagged as deprecated. Are there docs on how it should be used with NeoVim from now on? Yes. Never use Mason because Mason vendors an entire copy of the Mason package was made not particularly thoughtfully, and it vendors an entire copy of the Gleam toolchain. You don't need Mason is a tool for installing language servers, and if you have Gleam installed, then you already have the language server. So if you install a second copy of the language server, you now have a mismatch between your project and NeoVim, and it won't work. It just won't work. So all you need to do is. Oops, that was the wrong thing. Come on. This page isn't linked yet because I haven't quite finished it, but for NeoVim, you just got to add that. You just need to add that to your config. That's it. Mason, I think there's a bit of a issue in like the wider NeoVim world of people just defaulting to using Mason for things. While if you use Mason for some things, it just breaks. It's a bad default. You should think carefully about whether you want to use Mason or not. I found you and your language through your interview with Developer Voices. Chris! I love Chris. I've known Chris for years. He is an amazing man. Love him to bits. He's so good. He came to the Gleam version 1 release party. It was great. Party, meetup thing. Very interesting and inspiring interview. I'd like to ask, where do you go to seek information for building a type system, package management, etc.? Any good sources for learning? I mean, that's a great question. I really wish I had a good answer for you, but I just don't. I really would love to say, go read this book, or go do this thing, and you'll have a good understanding of type systems. But I never found that. I just had I had quite a hard time getting started with this. Like with type systems specifically. And now that I've learned it, I find it hard to understand what. Some things seem really obvious to me now, but I know at the time it was painful how difficult I found it to get started with it. So I don't know what good advice to give. Make things and ask lots of questions is the best, and just read lots of things. But I didn't find any singular good resource. I would say, if anything, the books that are like traditionally thought as being really good, like the Dragon book or Types and Programming Languages and all these books, they are impressive, but I didn't find them useful at all because they're often very mathsy. They're very thick and heavy and opaque. And I don't think that's a good way. I think most people don't learn with a big, intimidating, difficult book where the idea is you read it and you understand 5%, and you read it again, you understand 5%, and you read it again, and you know another 5%. I don't think that's how people work. People want simple people want simple explanations that they can understand all of it, even if it means that there are some things that are sort of hand waved away. So they can understand everything they're being presented, and then they get presented a little bit more next time. And even better if it's based around a project, an example. So that works better. I know I've got a few books like that for compilers. I don't have anything like that for type checkers, unfortunately. The programming languages community on Reddit and Discord is really good, as Dark Handler says. They're really lovely people. So that's why the Gleam LSP is deprecated in Mason. Yes, I'm the person who got that deprecated, which took a while to explain. Why do I want to deprecate my own language? Oh, yes. Yes. So it should work a lot better if you install Gleam 1.2 the normal way, not with Mason, and then just add this line to your NeoVim config. That should do the trick. Oh yes. So we discovered what might be a bug. Should we try and work out what's going on there? I'm sure there's code for this. So let's do it. How am I going to find this? What's a weird module name that exists in Erlang? Oh no, I didn't want search and replace. I want I'm trying to think of a really unusual Erlang module name that exists. Gen server. Here we go. Okay, so we've got a list of all the modules. Ensure Gleam module does not overwrite standard Erlang module. I mean, that sounds correct to me. Oh, I bet this is an absolute path rather than a relative path. But then I've tested this previously and it did work. If target is Erlang, so the target was Erlang. Interesting. The problem with doing this for streaming is that I can't realistically compile this code because compiling it's going to take minutes. At least it felt like it took minutes last time. Mason has to be the #1 NeoVim related question that comes up on the server. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks that someone made this package and now for the rest of all time, that Gleam exists and NeoVim exists and Mason exists, people will default to installing things with Mason. It won't work. They will be confused, and they will just have a bad time. Yeah. When it works, it's great, but I find config really confusing when the language server needs to be outside of Mason. Well, exactly. This is the problem with Mason, is that like it entwines itself into everything, and such people are like, oh, I'm confused. How do you do things without Mason? It's like installing a package, installing like like tooling that's external to NeoVim from NeoVim should not be the foundation of your language server configuration. Like something's gone wrong there, I think. It is actually simpler to configure this stuff without Mason, and yet somehow, like, people seem to find it easier way just because that's presented as being a default, which is bad, I think. You know, I think when you're designing any system that people use, you've got to think very carefully about what you're directing people towards. And the Mason experience has been, through documentation and tooling, been very well optimized to guide people into installing things with Mason, even if it's not the right thing to be doing. That's rubbish. That's rubbish. So I don't know what we do now. Like, we're just going to have people have this problem every day for the rest of time, and I don't know how to fix it. Maybe it's bad practice, but having .files and NeoVim in Git, where NeoVim takes care of everything on a new machine, is nice. No, that's a good practice. You should do that. Oh no, no. Okay, yeah, but yeah, that is not. That's not a good idea. Using Mason as a way to install all of your software in a new machine is a bad idea. All it's doing is downloading a bunch of binaries. If you want that, just write a shell script. Like, or unless you're adding the Mason install directory to your path, but then you can't manage versions. It's just not good. It's just not good. Sorry. It won't work for Gleam. It won't work for Go. It won't work for anything with the language servers included. So why do we think this fails? I bet this path is absolute. And let's do it. Should we try and make this work? So debug path. Come on. And now I'm gonna install it, and it's gonna say, how can I install it without doing? Can I install the non-release version? With Cargo, can you install something without running all the optimizations? Because I just want it to be fast. I know, I'll just build it. Cargo build. And I'll just run the binary manually. I just use Nix. It seems more appropriate for the whole system admin. Nix looks cool. I like a lot of things that Nix OS does, but Nix itself is a bit hairy in places. What about the Introduction to Theory of Programming Languages book? It's free now. I've not heard of that one. Maybe that one's really good. Which library do you recommend for web development? What kind of web development do you think? What kind of web development do you mean? If you want a back-end framework, Wisp on the Mist server. A front-end thing, I think Luster's very nice. Oh, good. So here we go. So where does it output the... There we go. There's a Gleam file. So let's copy that to my project, which I called app, did I? Right, so let's clean the project, and then let's build it, and okay, composite standard library compiles the, yeah, so these are absolute paths. How did this work previously? I'm confused. So I reckon that means. So let's go back to Gleam. Yeah, it's meant to be relative from the root. How did this ever work? That's programming, isn't it? It definitely works. It definitely works. Oh look, it's not working. How did this ever work? Okay, so there's a bug here. That's a shame. I guess we're gonna get version 1.2.1 very soon, but like that's the nature of these things, eh? So what else we got? It's a shame that doesn't work. Oh dude, that's the one I implemented as well. Terrible. That wasn't a contribution. What errors? Nice error if your manifest, that's like your lock file. That's like your npm lock. That's your package JSON lock. Is that what they call it? Package lock.json? Or your mix.lock or your cargo.lock or whatever. We call it manifest.toml. Nice error message for not successfully resolving your dependency versions. You should have seen the old one. In fact, can I show you the old one? I'm not sure I have a way of triggering the error. No, I don't. But it was pretty hairy stuff. This could be a nice one to show, and we can show the first language, the code action we got in this release. Let's do that. To the app. There we go. So, let's import int. Let's pattern match on int.random. And we're going to say if it's 2, then we're going to print. No. Okay, let's match on 2 numbers, and they're going to be 2 random ints. I think this is 0. Is it 0 1? I can't remember if this is inclusive or exclusive. Dot random. Cool. Okay, so let's say if they are both 1s, we're going to print both 1. If they're both 2, we're going to print both 2. Anything else, we don't care. So, like, you know. So this would be pretty normal. You see this in lots of different languages. Like lots of languages have pattern matching. If you're going to match on more than one thing at the same time, you might group them into a tuple such that you can match on them at the same time. Well, Gleam, you don't need to do that because Gleam has the ability to do to pattern match on multiple things at once without tuple RAPL. So if we say Gleam check, say this is a redundant tuple. Instead of building a tuple and matching on it, you can match on its contents directly. A case expression can take multiple subjects separated by commas, like this. Awesome. But the cool thing is that we have a language action. Language action, please. I haven't tested this one. Oh, yeah, there we go. Remove redundant tuples. Yeah. That one did work. After the last one, I got a bit nervous. So there you go. That's our new language. That's our new code action. The other one we've got, which I showed you earlier, which I'll show you again. Option is, let's put in result, and what else do we want? We want result and dict and, oops, URI, there we go. Remove unused imports. Remove redundant tuples. The redundant tuple one I'm actually quite impressed by because that's not a particularly easy code edit to make, to like know where all these different pieces are. Like you did a fantastic job implementing this. Oh, I didn't mean to show the big meat then. Oh yes, and here we go. And the code action. Oh, and the last thing. And the very last thing. So equality in Gleam is written like that. Oh, it's because I broke everything earlier with that code one. Let's remove that code one. There we go. Right, let's try again. Equality in Gleam is done with 2 equals. Oh god, look, my that buggy plugin is really annoying. There we go, so it's working now. It's with 2 equals. What happens if you try and do 3 equals? Well, it's not a thing, it's a syntax error, but now we've got, at least now we have a nice, oh, I didn't save the file. I've really got to work out why it's doing that. At least we've got a little message for the JavaScripters. Hey, it's 2 equals. It's not, this isn't JavaScript, it's 2 equals. Any advice for pattern matching? I'm going to assume that you're familiar with switch statements. If you are, it's the same thing pretty much. So here we say like, whoops. You know, this is the same as saying switch on int random, and if it's a 1, do this. If it's a 2, do this. If it's a 3, do this. Okay. You know, fairly straightforward, but you can just expand it to like more complicated data structures. So, you know. It's a bad example. Because like, say that you had a list here. You could now say, well, if it's an empty list, we do this. If it's a list of exactly exactly one element, we do this. If it's a list of exactly 2 elements, we do this. Or if it's a list of like any large number of elements, we do this, you know. So it's like a switch statement, but the patterns can sort of recursively nest into each other, and it becomes super powerful, super nice. And once you get used to it, you sort of find yourself going, I really wish I had this here. I really wish I could just pattern match here, because I can remove all this like super complicated procedural if stuff. I am too lazy 0. Good name. Thank you very much. This is simple and logical. Please give me a complex regex instead. So that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. And then, you know, we've got a bunch of, there's a whole ton of, tons of bug fixes as well. I'm going to have to add another bug fix in a bit, because wow, I'm very annoyed that I broke that, I'm very annoyed that I broke that, the check for the Erlang module name. And then there's just a little like, hey, maybe give us some, you know, sponsor us, subscribe to us on Twitch, become a member on YouTube, all that kind of jazz. I mean, GitHub sponsors is the best one, obviously. And then a big thank you to our sponsors and contributors, Fly being the biggest one. But all these people, look how great they are. This is why I can like actually do this, is that all these people are like super amazingly generous. Yeah, yeah, being able to do open source for a living is just awesome. Like being able to do something you really care about is phenomenal, and I'm like super happy these people have helped me do these things. So yeah, thank you, and I really hope you enjoy version 1. And unless there's something else we want to go over, I think that might be the end of the stream. What with it being 11:30 at night. I'm like, why am I tired? Oh, it's because it's nearly midnight. It's going to be midnight in 34 minutes. That's outrageous. Thank you very much, Ripples in Time and Space. Another really cool name. Ripples in Time and Space says, congrats on the release. Thank you. James goes, you build data structures from the ground up, and then you pattern match remove layers by pattern matching from the top of the instruction until you reach the ground again. That's a nice way of looking at it. That's cool. I like that. Twitch. I'm getting really into Twitch. Twitch is cool. Slow. I've got to work out to add emojis to our thing. No. Oh, Angry Ginge 13 is. Ooh, maybe I don't want to watch that. Are anyone that I follow? Great way to spend the bank holiday, Louis. Stay away from M&S cheese boards. This was even posher than M&S, this one. This was like sent from some fancy cheese shop. I didn't buy it though. And I also forgot it was bank holiday because I'm self-employed and thus I don't get holidays ever. Just me standing in this room tapping away at my keyboard every day. Do 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 do. Who we gonna raid? Come on. Good suggestions. Pick me. I didn't know any of these people, I don't think. Programming computers. Gleam for embedded DSLs. Yes or no? I mean Luster's an embedded DSL. Luster's pretty cool. An OS is working on an SQL DSL. There's loads of good DSLs out there. Rust/Vim making a video editor. That sounds cool. Cyber Mentoring Monday. That's not English. I don't understand it. Programming computers. I kind of like. Oh, it's Trash Puppy. Oh yeah, wait. Let's do Trash Puppy. Do do do. Raid. How do you spell Trash Puppy? Is that right? All right. Thank you so much for coming. Please enjoy version 1.2. If you find any problems with it, not the bug that I found, let me know. Until then, see you around. And bye-bye YouTube as well. Bye. Bye. Bye.